Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah, and joining me, as always, is my amazing co-host, Bill. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited about today's episode because we're diving into something that can truly change the way you learn English. Daily speaking practice.
Absolutely, Bill. Speaking English every day, even just for a few minutes, can make a huge difference in your fluency and confidence.
Exactly. But many learners struggle to make speaking a part of their daily routine. Some feel shy, while others are just not sure how to start.
And that's why in this episode, we're going to guide you step by step on how to do daily English speaking practice. We'll share why it's important, how to make it part of your routine, common mistakes to avoid, and some powerful techniques you can use.
And the best part? You don't need a speaking partner to start. You can practice even by yourself.
That's right. So, whether you're a beginner looking to start or an advanced learner aiming to polish your skills, this episode is for you.
So, grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive into the world of daily English speaking practice.
All right, Bill, let's start with the basics. Why is daily English speaking practice so important?
Great question, Sarah. Daily speaking practice is crucial because it builds your confidence. The more you speak, the more comfortable you become with using English in real situations.
That's so true. It's like exercising a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Exactly. And daily practice helps you naturally remember vocabulary and phrases. Instead of just memorizing words, you actually start using them.
I love that. It also reduces the fear of making mistakes because you become used to speaking, even if it's not perfect.
Yes, it's not about perfection, but progress. And another benefit is that it improves your pronunciation because you're constantly hearing and correcting yourself.
Absolutely. And it can even improve your listening skills because you become more familiar with how native speakers use words.
Exactly. So, daily speaking practice is not just about talking, it's about understanding, thinking, and communicating effectively.
Perfectly said, Bill. And for our listeners, remember that even a few minutes of speaking daily can make a big difference. Now that we know why daily speaking practice is important, let's talk about something that many learners struggle with: common mistakes they make.
That's right, Sarah. One of the most common mistakes is focusing too much on grammar while speaking. Learners often try to make their sentences perfect, which slows them down.
Exactly. Instead of speaking naturally, they overthink and hesitate. Another mistake is trying to use complex words they don't fully understand.
Yes, this can make conversations awkward and confusing. It's always better to use simple words correctly than to use advanced words incorrectly.
Another mistake is speaking too fast because they think it makes them sound fluent, but in reality, it can lead to mistakes and misunderstandings.
Absolutely. Fluency is not about speed, it's about clarity and confidence.
Another big mistake is not listening while speaking. Learners often focus so much on what they want to say that they forget to pay attention to the other person.
That's a great point, Sarah. Communication is a two-way process. Listening is just as important as speaking.
Finally, some learners only practice when they have a partner. They don't realize that self-practice, like speaking in front of a mirror, is also powerful.
Exactly. So, avoiding these common mistakes can make daily practice much more effective.
Now that we understand the common mistakes, let's talk about how to actually start daily speaking practice.
Absolutely. The first thing to remember is that you don't need a partner to start. You can practice by yourself. For example, start with self-talk. Describe your morning routine in English while you're getting ready.
That's a great idea. And if you feel shy, you can even practice in front of a mirror. This helps you become comfortable with speaking out loud.
Exactly. Another method is using your phone's voice recorder. Record yourself speaking on any topic, then listen to see where you can improve.
I love that. And for those who like technology, there are apps where you can practice with AI or even join English-speaking communities online.
And don't forget, you can also practice by repeating after native speakers on YouTube videos, podcasts, or even TV shows.
Yes, shadowing is an amazing technique. You listen to a sentence and then immediately repeat it, trying to match the
Starting daily
pronunciation
speaking
and
practice is
intonation.
not hard. It just takes a little bit of creativity and consistency.
Now that we know how to start, Bill, let's talk about some effective techniques that can really help our listeners practice every day.
Sure, Sarah. One of the most effective methods is called sakiti, shadowing, where you listen to a native speaker and immediately repeat what they say. It helps with pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation.
That's right. Another great technique is role-playing. You can imagine yourself in real-life situations, like ordering food at a restaurant or asking for directions, and practice those dialogues.
Absolutely. And don't forget, recording yourself. It might feel strange at first, but it's a fantastic way to catch your mistakes and track your progress over time.
I also recommend using language apps. With speaking exercises, like Duolingo or HelloTalk, these can add fun and structure to your practice.
And here's a tip. Try to think in English throughout the day. Narrate your actions, describe what you see, or even plan your day in English. This trains your brain to use the language naturally.
Another effective technique is talking to yourself. Yes, it sounds funny, but it's a powerful way to practice without fear of judgment.
Exactly. And lastly, try to use new vocabulary daily. Don't just memorize words. Make sentences with them and use them in your daily talks.
Perfect. With these techniques, daily speaking practice becomes more enjoyable and productive. Bill, once someone starts practicing daily, how can they actually measure their progress?
Great question, Sarah. Measuring progress is important because it keeps you motivated and shows you how far you've come.
So, what are some simple ways to do that?
One easy way is to record yourself regularly, maybe once a week. Listen back and notice improvements in pronunciation, fluency, and confidence.
That makes sense. It's like hearing your own growth over time.
Exactly. Another method is to set small, clear goals. For example, aim to learn and use 5 new phrases every week. When you achieve that, you know you're moving forward.
I love that. Also, keeping on practice journal can be helpful, writing down what you practiced, new words you learned, and areas you want to improve.
Definitely. And don't forget to celebrate your successes, no matter how small. Every step counts.
That's motivating, Bill. Measuring your progress not only shows improvement, but also boosts your confidence to keep going. Bill, many learners tell me that their biggest challenge is fear. Fear of making mistakes or being judged when speaking English. How can they overcome this?
That's a very common feeling, Sarah. The first thing to understand is that making mistakes is a natural part of learning any language. It's how we improve.
Absolutely. It's important to change your mindset from fearing mistakes to seeing them as opportunities to learn.
Another tip is to start small. Practice speaking in low-pressure situations, like talking to yourself or practicing in front of a mirror.
Yes, and remember that most people are supportive and appreciate the effort you're making to speak their language.
Exactly. Also, try to focus on communication rather than perfection. The goal is to be understood, not to speak flawlessly.
And if you feel nervous, take deep breaths and slow down your speech. This helps calm your mind and makes your speaking clearer.
Finally, regular practice itself reduces fear. The more you speak, the more confident you become. It's a gradual process.
That's encouraging, Bill. For our listeners, don't let fear stop you. Keep practicing and you'll see amazing progress. Bill, after everything we've discussed, can you share a simple daily speaking practice routine that listeners can easily follow?
Absolutely, Sarah. Having a routine helps turn practice into a habit. Here's a routine that takes about 15 to 20 minutes each day.
Great. What's the first step?
Start with 5 minutes of warm-up. This can be talking to yourself about your plans for the day or describing what you see around you. It gets you speaking and thinking in English.
That sounds like a nice way to ease into speaking. What's next?
Then, spend few to 5 to 7 minutes on focused practice. This could be shadowing a podcast, practicing a dialogue, or using a language app to complete speaking exercises.
I like that. It's short but focused practice. And after that?
Finish with 5 minutes of reflection. Listen to your recordings, note any mistakes, and think about what you want to improve the next day.
That seems very doable and effective.
Exactly. The key is consistency. Even a little daily practice adds up to big improvements over time.
Thanks, Bill. I'm sure our listeners will find this routine very helpful. Well, Bill, we've covered a lot today about daily English speaking practice.
Yes, Sarah. We talked about why it's important, common mistakes to avoid, how to start, effective techniques, and how to stay motivated.
Plus, we shared ways to measure progress, overcome fear, and a simple daily routine to follow.
Exactly. The key message is, consistency is the secret. Even a few minutes every day will lead to big improvements over time.
So, to all our listeners, start small, be patient, and keep practicing. Your fluency will grow step by step.
And don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's how learning happens.
Thanks so much for joining us today. We hope this episode helps you on your English learning journey.
See you next time. Keep speaking and